All right, live from Acalpulco with the great promoter Tom Loeffler. Tom, you know, you've been doing a lot of things connected to UFC President Dana White, who has long talked about trying to get involved in boxing, but there hasn't seemed to be that door that opened that really allows us to have it. Is working with you going to be something that will provoke Dana into boxing on a more full-time basis?
You know, I've known Dana for a while. He always said Triple G was his favorite boxer. So, we were always in contact. And then this year, with the TV dates becoming scarce, I asked Dana, let's do some boxing on Fight Pass. There was boxing on Fight Pass before, but when I brought Callum Walsh up to Las Vegas to the UFC headquarters, he really liked Callum. He said, okay, let's put Callum Walsh on Fight Pass, and Callum's been a huge hit. We've gotten great ratings on UFC Fight Pass.
Yeah.
The last show, Callum Walsh was headlining it. Sergey Boychuk just won the WBC Continental America's title. He's down here in Acapulco. So it really looks like things are going well. Putting the boxing that we're doing on a structured basis on UFC Fight Pass, and Dana's really taken an interest in it. He has Howlerhead sponsoring Callum Walsh, and it's getting a good reaction from the fans.
It doesn't happen overnight building a boxing promotion company, obviously, right? You kind of need to go fighter by fighter, and the next thing you know, you've got quite a stable. It takes years of work.
Absolutely.
You know the work ethic of Dana White, though. You know the ability for him and yourself to be able to connect with people, and the charisma that's required to be able to, attach yourself to these types of fighters. Is this something that really has the ability to grow some legs and become, a major entity in the sport?
Well, all the success that Dana's had building the UFC brand, I really think that we put that behind what we're doing on the boxing side. I really think there's a huge opening to build boxing on the UFC Fight Pass platform. And with the UFC assets and their reach all over the world, it really goes hand in hand what we're doing. With Boychuk being from Ukraine, and we just signed Omar Trinidad. He had a great knockout victory, 126-pounder. So as you said, you kind of signed fighters one at a time. Then you build, once you have the TV dates in place, you can build a nice stable, and everything's working out well. We're getting not only a great live reaction, sold out shows in Montebello, but also worldwide ratings on Fight Pass.
And one of the other interesting dynamics, and I think we're going to see that pretty shortly with Dana's former fighter Nate Diaz transitioning over to boxing. Some UFC fighters are very talented as stand-up strikers, but they may not have all of the other wares to be a champion in the UFC, but they've got the name recognition and they've got the brand. Is that something that you could maybe foresee happening, that some of the guys that he's worked with in the UFC would come over to boxing?
Well, we're definitely doing a lot of cross-marketing, especially with the fan base. We have Tony Ferguson, he trains with Freddie Roach
That's
at
right.
Wild Card,
Yeah.
and he's become pretty much a mentor for Callum Walsh. And I wouldn't be surprised, all the moves that Tony's showing Callum, I wouldn't be surprised if it goes the other way, where Callum actually goes into the octagon at some point down the road. But I definitely agree with what you're saying, Lance. There's a lot of great strikers in the UFC, and I wouldn't be surprised if at some point we do some type of cross-promotion where we bring one of the UFC stars over on the boxing side.
We're here in Acapulco. What brought you here, and what are you enjoying so far about the experience?
Well, I've always had a great relationship with the WBC. I'm still the promoter's representative for the WBC. We had so many WBC champions, starting with Kevin Kelly, who was the WBC featherweight champion.
Yeah, back in the day.
And then Vitaly Klitschko, naturally, as a heavyweight. Triple G, middleweight champion. We have numerous champions now. Sergey Boychuk is Continental America's champion, super welterweight, and so we brought Sergey down here, and it's a great turnout, people from all over the world. And we always like and appreciate the WBC.
Have you had any conversations with the Klitschkos? We know that Vitaly was able to previously bring the convention to Kiev. How is he doing, and how's Vladimir doing?
In fact, right before the pandemic hit in 2019, as you said, the WBC convention was in Kiev. I'm in regular contact with both Vitaly and Vladimir. Vitaly's naturally the mayor of Kiev, so he's got a huge fight on his hands. Vladimir is standing there right by his side, fighting alongside, trying to keep the morale of the Ukrainian people up. And right now, it looks like the tide is turning in terms of the way the invasion's going, the way the war is going, and it took forever to get Sergey out. His brother is still fighting in the army, and Sergey's fighting in the ring right now, but they're both in Kiev, Vladimir and Vitaly, and you know, it's one of those things where it's kind of normal life until there's a missile strike, and then you don't know what's going to happen. In fact, when we finally got the official permission to get Sergey to leave, his city of Vinnytsia was hit by a Russian missile strike. I think 26 people died. So it's one of those things that at any day it could be literally a life and death situation for them.
So scary, and all the prayers in the world sent their way. Last thing before I let you go, obviously Gennady Golovkin coming off the loss to Canelo Alvarez, but talked about fighting again. Erislandy Lara looks to be the next opponent for Gennady, or what do you know about what Gennady's going to do next?
Yeah, he hasn't made his decision yet what he's going to do. He is going to go back down to 160, so we're just waiting for everything to shake out and him to decide what direction he's going to go into at 160.
Great. Thank you so much, Tom. Really appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your time here.